Welcome back, nerds. It's the end of February, and what better way to end it than with a scary story? And today's story will be centered around the Black Eyed Kids, an urban legend known throughout all of America. So grab your pizza, cuddle up, and let's dive right in. Paranormal World Part 2: The Black Eyed Kids. It all started January 16, 1998, when a journalist named Brian Bethel claimed to encounter two boys in the parking lot. The boys asked for a ride home, explaining that they were on their way to the movies but had forgotten their money. Bethel was overwhelmed by the fight-or-flight sensation. Nevertheless, he did not let them enter his vehicle.
Because if he did, he'd be dead.
And the boys got angrier, demanding they be let inside his car. But he resisted the urge. It is now where he realized they had coal black eyes. Oh, God! And at this point, he was frozen with fear, and then he left. And now these kids with black eyes have become an urban legend, and have even been featured on Creepypasta and other horror channels. But this is not where the story ends, because Brian Bethel would not be the only one to have an encounter with the Black Eyed Kids.
On March 17, 2008, a 12-year-old boy had a bone-chilling experience in an outlet parking lot. While waiting in his mother's truck for his mother to finish getting a haircut, he saw a boy walking across the parking lot. Thinking it was a friend from school, the boy banged on the window until the other boy turned. Realizing it was not his friend, the boy in the truck watched in confusion as the strange kid walked up and stared through the window. The boy caught one glance at the other boy's solid black eyes and knew he was staring into the face of pure evil. "You must let me in," the black-eyed boy demanded. Panicked, the boy in the car crouched under the glove compartment. After several minutes, the black-eyed boy finally disappeared. When the boy's mother returned to the truck, she informed her son that the black-eyed child had come into the salon, demanding the keys to her vehicle. Thankfully, the boy's mother did not give in.
'Cause if she did, he'd be dead.
On November 19, 1992, a man was watching Evil Dead while his wife and children were sound asleep in the room. It was 1:30 a.m. when he decided to head to bed after the movie was over. Suddenly, there was a loud pounding at his front door, and what stood behind that door would change his life forever. There stood a boy and a girl, 8 and 11. They never looked up and were standing barefoot in the Michigan winter. Despite his anger, the man allowed the children to enter and allowed them to phone their parents. But when he went to lend them the phone, they were gone. In the dead silence, he heard the first scream coming from one of the upstairs bedrooms. When the man reached his wife's room, he was met by the devastating sight of his wife in a pool of blood and terrifying sounds of
Bones snapping like Kit Kats, and flesh ripping like gushers.
and saw the bare feet of the children he had just let in his house. Before he could even blink, the kids moved swiftly into his child's room and locked the door. Despite the man's best efforts, he could not help his children and stood helpless behind the door. When all was said and done, the door slowly creaked open, and there stood the barefoot children. Covered in blood, they stood defiantly with awful grins and eyes completely
Black!
like the devil himself. On Thanksgiving 2015 in suburban America, a woman was enjoying the holiday on her own in her house when she heard a knock. It was around 7:30 p.m. Believing it to be her neighbors, she opened the door without looking. However, it was in fact not her neighbor, but rather two boys outside her door with an eerie stance. They avoided all eye contact but insisted that they enter her house. She became hesitant, which is when the older of the two boys became persistent. It is here that they finally looked up and the woman noticed that they had
Completely.
eyes. She slammed the door on them as they continued to knock. Eventually, she was able to fall asleep, with all the lights on and the TV still playing. But later that morning, she found that the lights were off and the TV was filled with black and white static. There had been someone or something in her house.
Well, that just about sums it up for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure the subscribe button has had one too many drinks and then give them their car keys. Also hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos like this. We'll catch you next time on Mysterious Funny.
Un video más, mi gente.
I'm sorry if you follow me. Today I speak only in English.